Alright, let's get to the chase. You know this game is good. You've played Astro's Playroom, or the select few that have actually played the VR version. You know Team Asobi is an extremely capable team of crafting an extremely high-polished and well-detailed game. But you want to know how good it is, and more importantly this time around, if this game is worth the full $60 price point. And as somebody who could not stop grinning throughout Astro's Playroom and whose favorite VR game is Astro Bot Rescue Mission, I could not be more happy to report Team Asobi has absolutely knocked it out of the park once again. And I do want to shout out to PlayStation for providing me with the review copy, but I love this game and IP so much I bought the physical edition and controller with my own money to show support. While this may feel a little familiar at times and be slightly shorter than some people may have hoped for, I think there is more than enough highly polished content here that kept me literally smiling from ear to ear until the credits rolled. Now, when this game got announced only a few months back at the PlayStation State of Play, those who got it. And one trailer, I was locked in, sold, not a question about it. But I saw several people complain about the fact that this time there was a paid-for version, whereas the Astros Playroom was free. And I do want to just cover a few of those concerns real quick. First of all, I hear you, but Astro's Playroom was not free. It was $500. Most importantly, I saw people wonder how they could stretch this out into a full game. And at the back of my head, I'm thinking they've already done that, and it was incredible. Astro Bot Rescue Mission was a VR game stuck on the PSVR 1 only, so it was understandable if a lot of people have not played it. Now that was only in VR, and I think the new Astro Bot blends the perfect amount of both in this game. And all that to say, I promise if you enjoyed Playroom and if you are a fan of platformers and PlayStation, this is worth your time and money, and there is absolutely a full game here. I'm just going to lightly touch on the overall polish and graphics. Just like Playroom, this thing literally runs flawlessly. The 4K 60 with incredible looking water, grass, and textured details, they're just stunning to look at. Not a single bug, crash, performance issue my entire playthrough, case in point. The attention to detail in this game is just absolutely remarkable and deserves high praise. This is exactly the kind of polish people have come to expect from these big PlayStation first-party titles. And as far as the details of Astro Bot, this time there are 6 galaxies and around 80 different levels to explore and 15 unique abilities for Astro to harness. This game is essentially a collect-a-thon. You lost your ship, all your crew, and you work level by level to rebuild what you lost. Then when it comes to level design and abilities, some of these are just immaculate. You come in flying on your controller, crash land, and you go on your way. You will fight many different enemies along each level while you are searching for your crew. Now what is really cool is there are around 302 bots to find, and about 150 of them are PlayStation exclusive icons. So you may find people like Solid Snake, Sly Cooper, Crash Bandicoot, Joel, Ellie, you name it. And it is always just a treat. There's such a charm to this game that is just indescribable. And it goes without saying, but this game is also designed around people who have played PlayStation games for years. There are just so many little Easter eggs for you to find and discover. It's just such a love letter to PlayStation and its fans. And I feel like we can see that as a negative sometimes, but I don't think that is the case here. I think even if you are not a huge PlayStation person, there is still a wonderful platformer here. Your enjoyment is of course just enhanced by all of these references. And when it comes to the different levels and abilities, they again just a treat as always. Every level is just so freaking unique. In each galaxy there will be a few different abilities for you to grab. One lets you blow up and deflate like a balloon so you can reach ridiculous heights. You have these frog arms where you can punch, swing, grab enemies, this rocket dog that lets you go left and right, and the other one that lets you go vertical. There's just a ton of variety here, and it all plays into each level so well. Now one of my all-time favorite levels was this one called Slow Mo Casino, where the map is oozing with style, and everything is just at complete high speed, but to slow things down, you press R2 at the right time, and Astro will put on a VR headset so you can make your maneuvers. Like when this enemy throws cards at you, you freeze them and then you climb up them just to take him out. It is just brilliant. And there is just level after level like this. Some of them will have boss battles at the end, which I found to be very enjoyable. They are simple and don't take too terribly much to defeat, but the spectacle is awesome, and I never felt it needed to be any harder than it actually was. Now this game does have some challenge missions that I thought were awesome too. If you played the VR version, this will feel very familiar, kind of reminiscent of some of those comets in like Super Mario Galaxy. When you're in free roam looking for a planet to go on, there may be a stray comet that you can crash into and it will turn into a planet. Now these are usually bite-sized, of course, taking much quicker to finish than the overall main levels, but they are never any less enjoyable. You also have a main hub similar to Playroom called the Crash Site. This is where you bring back your crew, puzzle pieces, spend your coins that you earn. Each time you come back from rescuing the crew, this place just builds up a little more and more each time. You unlock different outfits to use, different attachments for your PlayStation icons. It's very fun and again just brings a smile to my face. I loved seeing people like the Infamous crew, the Uncharted, Shadow of the Colossus, and just so many IPs that I have loved for years, all just in one place. Now there is a really big draw here that I think a lot of people are going to go absolutely nuts for. Now PlayStation has kindly requested that we refrain from showing a majority of these, but there was a small loophole as this was included in the final trailer a day before my review copy came to me. And that was we saw Astro wield Kratos' axe and actually use it in combat. And then they tweeted saying that there are going to be more like this, and I can confirm this is absolutely correct, and very cool and rewarding at that. So the only one I'm going to talk about is the Kratos level where you wield his axe. Yes, it even has the recall feature, the Bear McCreary score that plays in the background, and it is absolutely perfect. So it's really the only one I'm going to cover and mention at all. I'm going to try to keep the gameplay limited, but just know if you have been a PlayStation fan for years, all of these are going to bring you so much joy. As far as the music goes, this thing absolutely bangs. I was very worried at the beginning because there was going to be a lot of like reused songs, because a few of the beginning levels, it found it a little too familiar, and I was like, oh man, I really hope they didn't cheap out on this. But I can confirm in the later levels, there were so many more just absolute bops that I was jamming to. Something I also forgot to mention earlier is that in some of the levels, there are even secret areas that will go and take you to an all-new secret galaxy, even with more secret levels. It is awesome, and quite possibly one of my favorite aspects is after beating a level once, upon replay, you can hire this bird for 200 coins at the beginning of the level, and this will basically chirp whenever you are near a secret. This makes cleanup so painless, and it really makes me feel like Team Asobi respects my time, which is fantastic. Again, these do not have to be used if you want to be stubborn, and you kind of want to get these on your own, you don't want any assistance, but I just thought this was such a great addition, and I think a lot of other people will as well. Now, I do think if for some crazy odd reason you did not enjoy Astro's Playroom, I don't think this is going to win you over too much. It is building off that foundation, but adding much more to it. But it's the core gameplay, it's kind of all the same, so I just felt like there was a reason to say that. I am honestly far more concerned if you did not enjoy Astro's Playroom. I would also like to touch on the overall length, as some people may find this too short, as it's kind of like a Miles Morales situation, where it could be beaten in probably 10 to 12 hours and maybe 15 to 18 for the entire platinum, which is an absolute blast, by the way, and I achieved platinum in about 15 hours, and I felt like I was going lightning fast just to get this review out. Now, this is something that may be an issue for some, as for someone like me, I absolutely love short video games that are high in quality. I get tired of every game being open world nowadays, 1,000 hours long, so it is just perfectly okay for somebody like me. Again, I just wanted to address it. This is absolutely a quality over quantity situation, and I am all here for it. When it comes to the haptics and the DualSense, Team Asobi showcases that they are the best at utilizing this DualSense controller by far. It's really not even close. It's always very cool walking over different textures and just feeling like you are touching something outside of this controller. The sounds it makes, it's truly awesome, and it really does feel next gen to me. It's got a very similar feel to Astro's Playroom. If you enjoyed it there, you are very much going to be impressed with it here. It is just such a shame that all other developers barely tap into its potential. If I had any slight negatives, I would say I would love to see some more in-depth mechanics similar to something like Mario as far as like the overall movement goes. Again, this isn't really remotely docking any points or anything like that. I think this game completely did what it set out to do. I'm just saying I would love to see something like this added in their newer games. Also, some of the bosses felt reused used in their other work. There is absolutely some new and improved bosses here, but I would just love to see some other kinds in their next installment. And I also cannot stress enough that I really hope people show up and support this game on day one. There are so many people out there that just non-stop say all PlayStation does is pump out third-party action-adventure games with a heavy emphasis on story. It's like, if you want something different, here it is, and I would love to see an overwhelming amount of support and people show up for this. I think Team Asobi absolutely deserves it. Astro Bot is just honestly such a special game, and this is an IP that has just been crafted with such love and care. It is so palpable. The style is literally bursting through the screen. This is absolutely one of my favorite games of 2024 so far, and this just brings me back to simpler times when video games were just plain fun. My entire playthrough, I was never thinking, is this going to be game of the year? Which game is better than this? Everything else just kind of ceased to exist because I was just having such a blast, and I cannot stress enough, I did not want this to end. I literally could not recommend this game more, and I think it is absolutely worth buying at full price. Unless you are somebody who values the amount of time you are playing for your dollar over the quality for some reason. Astro Bot drops on September 6th on PS5 only. Let me know if you're planning on picking it up, and make sure to like and subscribe for more reviews in the future, and I'll see you in the next one.